Have you guys ever had a wonderful opportunity in your hands? Like right there. And then what do you do with that opportunity? You fumble it. No! Today I'm going to share with you one of my biggest failures, but also one of my favorite stocks when it comes to growth and dividends. As we're going to talk about Home Depot.
Let's do this.
Let's talk about this awesome company and stock, and then towards the end of the video, I'll share with you one of my biggest investing blunders. All right, guys, here's what you need to know. So as of today in 2020, Home Depot operates over 2,200 locations. Now, each of these locations, you've seen them, they're like warehouses. These warehouses comprise of 104,000 square feet. Now, they're all over the US, but they're also in Canada, Guam, Mexico, and Puerto Rico as well, if you did not know that. I did not know that. You guys want to be mind blown for a moment? Well, every time you walk into one of these warehouses, you have available at your disposal over 35,000 different products. Boom. Oh, and we cannot forget to talk about them long lines. You guys remember when the pandemic really first started, people started going on lockdown? Well, if you happen to drive by a Lowe's, if you happen to drive by a Home Depot, you saw a line that went around the whole store, probably around the world and back, because that's how many people were waiting to improve their home. Because when you're locked at home, the only thing you're thinking about doing as you stare at your home, because it's not the way you want it, is to improve it, right? Everybody was wanting to go HDTV, Property Brothers style, on their home. And that is why Home Depot is so powerful. It can overcome the freaking pandemic. Back in 1978, when Home Depot first started, and it started in Atlanta, Georgia, in case you didn't know that, there's your history lesson for the day. Back then, their business model was focused on selling to tradesmen, or people who were contractors, construction workers, people who were skilled in the particular trade of manufacturing, construction, things like that. They didn't always sell or focus on selling to the end user like they do today. But eventually, as business evolved over time, they started to not only sell to contractors, but just to the normal everyday person. And they really took charge, or they really jumped on to that DIY movement. And when I say DIY, I mean do it yourself.
Hi, I'm Steph.
And I'm Vicki.
And we make do-it-yourself videos at motherdaughterprojects.com.
In this workshop, we're going to share how to make this fun fall DIY, which is sure to add a lot of curb appeal to your home.
All the materials can be found at the Home Depot or around your house. Let's do this.
And that's why if you listen to a commercial from Home Depot, it's very encouraging. They're saying, let's do this. Like together, you're not a skilled tradesman. You're not a manufacturer. You don't know how to build homes. But hey, guess what? With the help of Home Depot, you can go buy whatever part you need. You can fix your door. You can fix your sprinkler. You can do this. And so that became a big part of their advertising initiative. And today, their business has flourished because of that. This is gonna sound silly to you guys, but in my garage right now, I have one of those classic orange Home Depot buckets. Beautiful branding, by the way, done by them. Well, on the side of that bucket, if you've ever seen them, it says, let's do this. And when you don't feel like doing yard work, or if you don't feel like fixing up your home, or whatever it is, when you grab that bucket and you read, let's do this, it's on. And it gives you a motivational kick. Sounds silly, but what I found, it actually does motivate me. It's sad what things motivate me. A huge part of Home Depot's success, in my opinion, is the convenient location of their stores. Have you guys ever thought about how they place their stores or where they're located? Well, they're usually near suburban areas or very popular retail outlets. For example, like where I live in California, there's literally a Home Depot. I can drive to it in about 3 minutes. Not kidding. It's that close to my house. Another thing about Home Depot that customers really love is the extended hours. So you can go there early in the morning, middle of the day, or even late at night. They're still going to be open. You're going to still be able to get the parts you need most of the time. And you're going to see contractors there throughout the day loading up on the supplies and materials they need to do their jobs, and just a slew of just your average day normal consumers who want to tackle the projects themselves. And more recently, Home Depot is starting to focus on MRO, which stands for Maintenance, Repair, and Operations, to help businesses and government entities. They're also working to enhance their online sales because clearly online shopping is the future and continues to be the future, but more so they're they've invested about $1 billion or just over $1 billion in logistics because they want to be able to do same-day delivery for their customers who are shopping and ordering their products online. As we transition to talk about some of the financial data now, one thing I want to mention is part of the reason their profit margins have been so lucrative is because economies of scale, which essentially means they've grown to be such a large company, such a large driving force in the market, that they have a lot of control or a lot of discretion over supplier prices. Kind of like a Walmart. You know how like Walmart can get things at a really low price from their suppliers? Home Depot is the same way in their own regards for the kind of business and consumers they serve. And although Amazon is selling a lot of things online that Home Depot does sell, they don't have the breadth of networks and suppliers that Home Depot has, and they have not scaled to be that large. So Home Depot has several advantages. And on top of that, it's nice to be able to go into a store when you're looking for a very, very specific piece or component to install in your home. Something that is not easily done on Amazon. For example, when I go to pull a sprinkler head out of the ground in my front yard that's probably been in there since like 1980, and I don't even know what part it is, you think I'm gonna go for Amazon on that? Heck to the no! I'm going down to the depot and I'm gonna find somebody with an orange vest to tell me what the hell it is and where do I find it. Alright, let's talk financial data. So currently, at the time I'm filming this video, Home Depot is sitting at roughly $268 per share. Their dividend per share of stock is $6 per year, or 2.25%. If you look at their income statement, you'll notice that their top line revenue and their bottom line revenue, which is their net income, has continued to grow year after year after year consecutively now for many, many years. Usually when a company has good profits, followed by that is a great cash flow statement, which means that if you look at Home Depot's cash flows, it has a significant amount of free cash flow, which has gone up consecutively as well, which means that the company has a lot of money to reinvest, to grow itself, and also to pay out to its shareholders and investors in the form of dividends. Let's talk about some dividends. Now, Home Depot's dividends have not always gone up consecutively every single year, but most of the time they do. If you look at the history, which you're seeing on screen, you'll notice that most of the time they do raise their dividends. So dividend-wise, they've been able to, over the past 10 years, roughly, on average, their compounding dividends per share growth is about 16%. Pretty powerful. And their earnings per share growth is about 10%, or like 7 to 10%, somewhere in that range, which is pretty stellar when you compare it to most other companies. Now let's look at stock performance, because price appreciation is just as important as dividends in my opinion, so that you get an overall total return that's lucrative and very much so in your favor. So in the purple line is Lowe's, Home Depot line's blue, and the S&P 500 is in the red. Now Home Depot has actually been outperformed recently by Lowe's. And these two companies, guys, Lowe's and Home Depot, if you look at the graphs, they move in very similar patterns. So if you think one's gonna do well, it doesn't hurt to own the other. So if it's like Pepsi and Coke. If one's doing well, usually the other does well at the same time. But 1 year performance is about 23% on Home Depot. Lowe's has came in at 32%. I'm sorry, that's year to date. That's the year to date performance. 1 year performance is about 20% or 19% for Home Depot, 44% for Lowe's, and 9% for the S&P 500. 5 year returns, as you can see here, Home Depot and Lowe's are neck and neck over the past 5 years, coming in at 130%. And of course, if you take this graph all the way back, since the 1970s, you can see how incredible the performance of Home Depot has been. It's gone up thousands of percent since the 1970s. Like any business though, it's not always gonna be sunshine and roses. I'm a big fan of Home Depot, as you guys can tell, but economic downturns can definitely hurt the business. If people aren't buying homes, if people aren't moving, if people aren't fixing up their homes, it's gonna hurt the business. But what we've seen recently in this very weird economy that we have, whatever kind of economy you would call it, I don't know. We've seen though that home ownership is on a rise. In fact, maybe the largest rise in years. People are buying up homes left and right as they are able to work remotely now, so they don't have to commute to that big city anymore, because of the pandemic, people are now set up to work from home. So people are spending more time at home, and people are often also buying homes as they flee these big cities, as they try to get away from the violence that we're seeing right now in the big cities. Home ownership is up, and that's what I've been seeing recently. But If there was a major economic downturn and people lost their jobs, yes, Home Depot might be the last thing on their mind. But as long as people are working from home, they're spending more time at home, they're more likely, in my opinion, to go to this, want to fix up their existing home if they're not thinking of moving. I think either way though, Home Depot is very strongly positioned and able to take advantage of these future trends. But those are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about Home Depot as a company, as an investment. Is it good? Is it bad? Why are we not? Or should we be looking at Lowe's? Or should we invest in both? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Now, let me just share with you real quick my investing blunder as we wrap up this video. When I first started getting into investing, and when I mean getting into investing, I mean being consistent with investing, really investing almost every single month for the purpose of retirement, long-term thinking, and so on and so forth. Well, when I first got into investing, I started trading. And so I had this wonderful Home Depot stock, which I had bought back then, get this, about $90. That's right, $90. It was less than 100, I know that. Well, guess what I did? I traded it off because I saw a 20% gain, and I'm like, ooh, that's pretty good. And I had a trader's mentality back then. So I traded. Well, now I would have nearly tripled my money had I just held on to that investment, and I would have received the dividend the whole way through. So not the brightest move on my part, but that lesson of how much I could have made but didn't because I sold off too early helped shape me to the investor I am today. As one of my biggest investing scars is how much upside I lost because I got greedy and wanted to get out too soon rather than just being a patient long-term investor. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. If you did enjoy it, please drop me a like, engage in the comments below, and share this video with others. That's going to help really promote the YouTube algorithm and get this information out to more and more people. Subscribe for my future videos that I release on a weekly basis on finances, investing, and taxes. Live life uncaged. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.